Hello guys, just Goran here and welcome back to another episode of Building the Beekse Bergen. And today the update dropped. I don't know when this video is going to go live because it might take me a while to actually get some stuff done. But the update went live. I of course immediately purchased the DLC and here we are back in our park. And today we are able to do some stuff with the new pieces. And I have actually done some things already. You may know from the last episode, I think I mentioned I wanted to make these doors, but waited until we had these glass pieces, and sadly the glass pieces were not the limiting factor here. It was the planks. This door is like 1.5 meters, but the planks at minimum we have 1 meter. Oh, there's a lot of noise outside. The planks are a minimum of 1 meter, so I can't make this much smaller, sadly, because yeah, of course if you were to close these doors, clearly that wouldn't fit, but yeah, I really can't make them any smaller. I mean, this door was even smaller, so I kind of adjusted that and did some things with smaller wood pieces to make the wall look semi-decent, but yeah. But the glass pieces are amazing. Next stop is probably going to be this thing. Oh god, it's crowded in here. We're going to be able to redo this stuff with the new glass pieces, and it's going to look really cool, I think. But before that, I have been working on the Safari restaurant, which is also a place where we wanted to use the new glass pieces. Because we had this all kind of built with the old ones, the ones that look like this. Yeah, the old ones, they were made out of these, which have that big border, which, by the way, I'm kind of frustrated because they added more of these, which is great, but they still haven't changed the Z-fighting issue, which I don't know if anyone ever reported that. I might make a ticket for that myself, but this, okay, now it's stopped, but yeah, that stuff is so annoying, and I can't help but be bothered that that didn't fix that. But I mean, super happy with these panels, of course, or panes. And yeah, I've been reworking this because it was this was one of the first things I built, and it wasn't really that bad. It wasn't bad, but I did it without much reference pictures, and of course when I started taking more reference pictures I found out it was very wrong. So now we're redoing it, and yeah, I'm putting in all of these details, which are so much work, but I really like where this is going. Oh yeah, one thing I quickly want to mention, which is amazing about this update. Overall, I kind of feel like the performance is a little worse, but it might be because I've been working on a little side project, which I promised myself I wouldn't record anything of while building it, just so I can just relax and focus on the building. It's actually quite nice to have kind of a separate project from this, so I can just take a break and, you know, let my creativity flow in a different way. But yeah, in that side project, of course, we don't have a million billion pieces, so it might be that I'm noticing a performance difference between that world and this one, not necessarily between updates, because there's actually been a great performance increase in selecting the grid. As you can see, it selects almost instantly, rather than freezing like 2 or 3 seconds like it used to. It pretty much, the deselecting goes instantly, and the selecting only freezes for like half a second, which is amazing improvement in that regard. Alright, quite some building later, and we've got some more things to show. First of all, let's go and take a closer look at the restaurant, which I'm gonna say the exterior is now pretty much done. It's not perfect, but I really don't want to put that much more time into it because I've already poured so much time into it. The only thing I might want to do is change the roof for plaster, so we have a little bit more freedom, especially in these sorts of parts. But other than that, yeah, there really isn't much I'm going to be changing about the outside anymore. We'll do a simple interior, really nothing too spectacular or accurate, because that's not going to be possible to do it accurately, because we're already dealing with all of this stuff. So yeah, we're probably just going to do this very simplified. I mean, the main attraction of making the interior look at least a little good is the fact that you'll be able to see an interior from outside looking through these windows, which is really cool. Now, as for the decorations here, it's very simple. It's a very simplified version of what there is in real life. In real life, there's a bunch of different patterns, but these took so much time, and the other patterns were a bit more complicated. You know, if I ever feel like it, I might change them out, but I think this is good enough. I did a thing that I don't think was worth it, but because of the DLC, they changed it so that ropes are now climbable. So I actually had to go into the primate houses and change some things regarding all of these ropes that we have, because it was actually possible for the gorillas and other things to climb out now, because they could use the ropes. I also added the capuchin monkey in the gorilla habitat. And why did I do that? Well, the actual gorilla habitat has another monkey species in there as well. And let me quickly look up what they're called. It is the crested mangabe. That's the monkey that they have here in real life. Right now, this is kind of the only monkey that we have in game, and it actually is just like the crested mangabe, just very tiny and adorable. So I've decided to throw those in here. It's actually a very nice addition from the DLC. And then I found out, of course, that I realized that, oh yeah, the ropes are now climbable. Let's see how that stuff works. And we had all these sorts of trees around, and they were kind of blocking the ropes from being climbable. Or so I thought. So I decided to make some custom trees using the, what are they called? African branches. Oh, there's a mosquito in my room. I've got to get that little thing I missed. Anyway, yeah, so it wasn't climbable, then it wasn't. I tweaked it around a bunch. If we take a look at the traversable area, we will be able to see that it broke again. I swear to God, these top two were climbable at first. Well, you can see that this bottom rope is climbable, and over here the top ropes are climbable. And that's because I added over here, yeah, I added this little pole on this side and on this side as well. I think it's this one, yeah. And those actually made it made them able to access this top part and made that part climbable. But I haven't seen them do it yet, which is a real shame, because I put a lot of time into these trees, and now they don't seem to be using it. Speaking of the climbable ropes, in a similar fashion, this is the chimpanzee habitat, where I've also changed out one of the trees to make things more climbable, and that did solve a bunch of stuff. Actually, this entire bit is now climbable, including this little net that we made. The very long rope over here is climbable. All of this stuff is now more climbable. But once again, I'm yet to see a monkey on there, which is a bit of a bummer. Now, of course, the last little change is that I've added in the Jaguar. Oh God, they have babies. So yeah, we have Jaguars now. Of course, we used to have these by using a mod which turned the Bengal tiger into a Jaguar, but now we don't need the mod anymore. We just have them in the base game, and they look awesome. And look at him run, man, that's a fast guy. And they're able to climb these logs, which is pretty cool. I hope they will. I've seen them climb logs before in other videos, but once again I haven't seen them do it here yet. We might take a longer look at them and see if they ever do. This habitat, though, it still needs to be reworked quite a bunch, because this climbing frame actually has to go one further into here and then down to here. This entire side of the thing has to be changed shape wise. I think all we have to do is make it connect like this, and that will solve all the issues I have with it. That would actually also make more sense, because then it would line up, it would have kind of the same amount of poles like this side. So yeah, I might do that soon as well. Now, the only thing I'm still struggling with this habitat is the fact that in real life there are a bunch of windows looking into this habitat, like the ones that we have over here. And these are, I've actually placed them in the correct positions already, but I do not know how I'm gonna tackle these, because we're dealing with the fact that you can't poke a hole in Chainlink in this game. Well, you can through drastic measures, like over here, but you'll end up with this lump of terrain, which I'm not sure we'll be able to hide. Alright, so I think they patched it out. I think it used to be a lot easier to do this stuff, but I already heard some people mention that it was like more difficult to terraform around barriers. And yeah, it's not gonna work, so I'm gonna reload. Okay, so yeah, sadly no way to do that after all. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue to be stuck at what to do with this exhibit. I think we're gonna have to freestyle something, either just leave out the glass pieces and do something else there. I'm gonna think that over. And just so you guys can see, this is the problem. So we've got window over here, and then Chainlink above it, like very clearly, even more so in later pictures perhaps, like yeah, over here. Alright then, welcome back to pretty much, except for the inside, the finished well, Jaguar, but it's actually supposed to be a Persian leopard. What I ended up going with is not my favorite of the solutions, but it's definitely the best looking one. We've got a window laid over the Chainlink fence. Well, sadly just no way to get it to look good. With the changes made to barriers, we couldn't do any fancy shenanigans. If we ever get a way to have Chainlink pieces that we can place around it, then we can do null barrier. And you know, if we got Chainlink pieces like that, we might even just redo the entire roofing of this. But until that point, we're just gonna stick with this. So we've got these little viewing areas that have these logs around them like they do in real life. Got this little fence with some mesh behind there, with these bushes that are kind of overgrown around the viewing areas. Here and there there's some bamboo placed in there, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with what this ended up looking like. On the back side we've got more vines growing on it, just like what we already had over here, and we are starting to get a path on this side. Over here there's actually a staff path, kind of hidden by this little bits of mossy stone. And yeah, this is going to be the path leading visitors to the bus stop, where they can get on a bus and take a safari tour, leading them around the park. We are over here back at the Jaguar Habitat, or the Persian leopard as it's supposed to be. Something I didn't put an emphasis on earlier was this little sign that I made a little bit more detailed than the other signs, because I thought, why not? We might try that for some of the other signs, I'm not sure. Part of me just wants to wait until we ever get some kind of feature where we can upload images to put onto those signs to make custom signs. But what we've got on the other side over here is this little kind of playground area. It's called an adventure track. I think we've already mentioned them before in the series, but I haven't actually built any yet. Well, there is the one in front of the primate house, but it's not really well, it's similar to this one, I guess. So yeah, it's just for kids, so that they can go across and, you know, step on the logs and try to make their way through. And people are also using it as a viewing area, apparently, because it is actually walkable, and people walk across it, which is pretty great. I'm really happy with that. Might want to hide some more of these logs, because in places like this, it doesn't really matter that the logs are scattered around from the natural path. But over here, there they don't belong. So that really makes us almost finished with the habitat over here. I've emptied it out quite a bit. I got rid of a lot of the foliage because it was not as lush as I had it. I've used some of these mossy rocks, which are freaking amazing, and I love them. We're gonna have to put them down in some other places over the park where I've got rock work. But now the only thing really missing is a climbing structure over here, which I'm really afraid to put down because I'm afraid that he'll be able to climb over the rest of the habitat. But we've got kind of this staff building on the back here, which is not great, but I really don't know what to do with it. I'm pretty much out of ideas on how to make it look any better, which really sucks because I don't know, I wouldn't say that this is kind of the standard I want to have, but I'm just so done with this place. Like it's with all the redesigns, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, especially now on the front with all these bushes and stuff, but I'm pretty much done with it. Like, even though it's not entirely done, I'm done with it. So we're just gonna put some foliage around this at some point, and then it's fine. Right, so I'm not sure if I mentioned, so I'll cut this out if I already did, but over here we have the monkey habitat, which I have started putting some things into, but I don't have proper reference of this place. I have a video of me walking down this entire place, and in the video I kind of pan over this, but it's not clear, it's all blurred because I'm moving way too much, so the video is useless. I have one picture from over here, kind of a panorama picture of like this place, with looking onto the habitat from here, and I have one picture from here looking against the primate house. So there's a climbing structure over here which I'll be able to make if I want, but the stuff over here, I can see that there's stuff, but what it looks like is I have no idea. And from Google Maps I can tell that there's a couple of trees around, but once again not too much information, so I think I'm going to postpone the monkey habitat even further until the zoo is open again and I can make some pictures of that, because yeah, right now that's just not feasible. So instead I have moved on to the area back here, starting with these little bits of roof, just like any building in the zoo really. I've just marked out where it's going to be with the thatch roof. But I've started laying the groundworks of this little building. Basically I have 4 different wall pieces as well as some standalone wall pieces over here. So we've got closed off wall, wall with window, door number 1, door number 2, which is slightly different than door number 1, and these little bits of wall that are going to be around the place. Because these is a thing of like 3 little round buildings with straight parts connecting them. So yeah, let's construct each of the buildings using these kind of puzzle pieces that I made. So now for this bit of the building, we want to have door number 2 over here, or I think I said this was door number 1. It's kind of door number 2 because it's just a closed off door that is not being used at all. So next to it on this side is a window. So there's our window, and then if we move around it on the other side, by the looks of it is also a window. Then there's a blank wall with another blank wall, so this is not there. And that's, I think, our first piece of the puzzle. Well, now that we've kind of have the finalized building, we can of course group it. We can't. So now we can group it up. Alright then, and using those pieces we created, we were able to put together the entire building. Oh, there's a little piece left over here. Can go away. So yeah, over here we have the completed building. I'm not 100% sure if this part is correct, because I didn't, it's like the only angle I didn't have a photo of, other than the kind of back of it, which I also improvised. It still needs a roof which I'm probably gonna do made out of plaster pieces. But other than that, it is finished. And because of the new glass pieces, or using the new glass pieces, I managed to make the inside like all as well. This door needs a bit of extra wood to cover up that glass, but other than that, oh, and so does this one. But we've got an open door which people walk through. I've put a bunch of trash cans around it, which we're probably gonna hide most of them. Especially this one can be hidden easily. This one not so much, and I think this one can just be seen as the trash can propping the door open, even though that's not how that works. But yeah, that's the build from the inside, but I don't know if we want an inside to this building actually, so I might do some trickery to kind of hide maybe just this part of the building. We might do something here, but because I do want this thing inside of it. This is the information center, which is where people can buy audio guides, which don't really want to sell those here. There's a flight. Neither do I want this place to sell umbrellas, because that doesn't really fit this either. But these adoption packs is actually, well, I don't think they're selling them in this building, but basically what this building is the Wildlife Foundation kind of headquarters for the Beekse Bergen Zoo. And from what I understand, the Wildlife Foundation is just a non-profit organization made completely up out of volunteers who collect money for conservation and like anything wildlife related. And what they're doing inside the Beekse Bergen is letting you adopt species of animals. So big companies sponsor certain animals in the zoo, and actually single people can also pay like a yearly amount to sponsor a certain type of species. And all of those people's names get written on this wall, so that's something I still have to add. And also you will get signs like this one, which basically says, in this case, gorilla something something has been sponsored by this and that person or company or things like that. So yeah, that's why I really want an information desk in here that sells those adoption packages to kind of bring home that spirit of this foundation. Now the building is actually far too big. It should be about, well, I would actually almost say like 2/3 of this, which would make it a 1-to-1 scale recreation, which might actually be true now that I look at it. But of course we are working on a 1 to 1.5 scale in the zoo. I'm gonna make an exception for this building. I think most of these gazebo things have kind of gone to that point where they're actually to scale instead of to the scale that we're working on. But they look so great and I'm really happy with them. So I'm just gonna ignore that fact and just work with it, because we can easily kind of build around this to make it look good. And this just wouldn't look good if I tried to make it smaller than this, especially since these things wouldn't look good if I were to make them smaller. Since this thing is supposed to be the same size as that thing, it would look weird if we made this one smaller as well, or if we only made this one smaller, in fact. So that's why we're sticking to that scale, and it just looks so great, and that this is just all the more reason to keep it. Alright, so we've got a very simple but pretty detailed interior. I am not 100% sure how much of it is accurate. I had a couple of pictures that I found on the internet of the inside of this place. I'm always kind of a bit embarrassed taking my own pictures inside buildings like this, because there's always volunteers walking around and I don't want it to seem like I'm photographing them. But I mean, I do want to get a picture of the entire room and not just of like, because I can pretend I'm making a picture of something on the shelf, but even then, I don't know, I always feel a bit weird doing that. So yeah, I had to look up some stuff online, and I actually found a pretty cool video kind of talking about what they're doing here and what this building's all about, which I'll link it in the description if I remember to. It is in Dutch, so sorry if you can't understand it. But yeah, what's up with this interior? Well, I kind of really freestyled it. As I said, I didn't have that many reference pictures, and I had to deal with all of the things going on. What's happening here? Whoa! Someone get pickpocket? What's happening here? Well then. So yeah, over here in real life there is like a statue of a tiger. Well, it's not even a statue. It's like an actual stuffed tiger that they've got on display here. As I went with the new Jaguar statue. It's I thought kind of the best looking feline statue that we have. And yeah, then there's these little planters, some storage of different stuff, and then there is these tables that have all sorts of things on display. I think there's like an embryo of, I don't remember what animal actually. There's some skulls, there's stuff all over the place in real life, so I'm still looking for some clutter items. But we've got some things like a horn, some rope. It kind of looks like poop, so it could be that as well, because they actually sell like rhino and elephant poop here, which you can use for like gardening. But yeah, in the game here we've got some skulls. This is a giraffe skull from the workshop. It's actually the workshop item is actually an entire giraffe. I just took off the head. You can see it over here. It looks really cool. Giraffe skeleton by Finzas42. Very cool work there. So yeah, bunch of stuff. I'm still looking for some more stuff to put on here. I've used the new bamboo pieces as kind of like little glass containers of stuff. Oh. So yeah, tons of things, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. And that kind of concludes the little building. Over here we've got the hidden stuff. I've closed off this window with a little curtain, put some stuff behind it so that it's still noticeable. You can actually see through the window and that there's stuff there. I might put a light in there as well. But I think for now that's where we're gonna leave this episode. We did quite a lot of stuff actually. Finished the safari restaurant with all of this decoration with the new glass pieces and these doors here. Well, that was enough camera, but whatever. And now we've got this entire new area kind of finished up almost, so we can start to move on to over here, kind of get that area finished, and then once we got this stuff done, then that kind of finishes up pretty much the entire front of the zoo, other than this, which, as I said, we can't really do yet. Oh, I didn't put the water back in. But yeah, that is gonna be it for today. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode, and next video is probably gonna be something different, but we'll see then. And yeah, I'll see you then. So stay safe, have a good day, and goodbye. Oh, I did get the mosquito. It's dead on the desk.